Hey, what's up you guys? I'm Sara Lubratt, and today we're just gonna be doing a little bit of a NaNoWriMo update / check-in, just letting you guys know where I'm currently sitting with NaNoWriMo and what I'm thinking and what some of my thoughts are about the rest of the month. If you go on to enjoy this video, I would really appreciate it if you give it a big thumbs up because that really supports my channel, and without further ado, let's get into the video. So the day that I'm filming this is currently November 14th, meaning that I am almost halfway through with the month of November. However, let me get you guys caught up on a little bit of what my word count has been like for the first 2 weeks of November. The last truly dedicated NaNoWriMo video that I did was the first 3 days of Nano, where I ended up writing 10,000 words across the first 3 days, which was an amazing start and really gave me a boost of confidence and made me feel really good about the rest of the month. And then on November 4th, I wrote 62 words, which was totally okay because I had just finished 10K, and so I was well above the line, and I was feeling very, very good about that because I had technically accomplished what you should technically be at within the first 6 days, within the first 3. So the fact that day 4 was much lighter, I was totally okay with and was actually quite happy for, just because I didn't want to burn myself out. And then I went on a camping trip, and that lasted 2 nights, but technically 3 days. November 5th, 6th, and 7th, and all of those were 0 word days. And while the camping trip was so much fun and I was not worried about not writing, I was definitely thinking about my story and I was missing writing, but I also didn't want to pull out my phone or my computer while I was camping in the desert, just because I was having such an amazing time unplugged after a really long work week. So that break away from screens was absolutely amazing, and I really think that that was the right decision not to write for those 3 days. But that also kind of got in my head that I didn't write for 3 days so early on in November, because when I was planning for NaNoWriMo during October, aka Preptober, I did go through and look at how many days I didn't think I was going to write during the month of November, and then I subtracted those days from 30 and then divided that by 50,000, and I came up with, if I wanted to take 6 or 7 days off during the month of November, on the other days I would want to write somewhere between 2,100 and 2,200 words a day in order to still hit that 50,000 words by the end of the month without having to write every single day and being able to give myself some days off. But this camping trip was unaccounted for because this was kind of a last minute trip, which was totally fine. And part of why I tried to get so much done in the first 3 days was to give myself a little bit of a head start. However, still ultimately unaccounted for within the month because the 6 or 7 days were later in November. But that was the thought process, was that I wanted to write for 22 or 23 days and write somewhere between 2,100 and 2,200 words a day, or at least averaging at around that, again, in order to try and hit that 50,000 words by the end of the month. So around November 7th, I was still sitting at just above 10,000 words. And then on November 8th, I wrote 501 words, which was not as strong as I wanted to come back to writing after my camping trip. But again, I was just trying to be nice to myself and I let that one slide. And then on November 9th, I ended up doing a writing experiment where I tried writing like full-time author Victoria Aveyard, and I ended up writing a whopping 4,012 words that day, which was fantastic, and my highest word day so far this month, which ended up putting me at just above 14,000 words on day 9. And then November 10th came, and I didn't do any writing on November 10th just because I could not physically get myself to sit down and write, and that was for a multitude of reasons, but it kind of lingered over into November 11th as well. And on November 11th, I only ended up writing 62 words, which ultimately, again, is fine, and I just tried to be nice to myself and remind myself what I tell everyone else, that progress is progress, and ultimately mental health is far more important than any word count or anything else, and that I needed to prioritize my mental health and go to bed instead of trying to force myself to stay up and actually get some words done, which I think was very much a good decision. And then on November 12th, things started to get a little bit better, and I wrote 1,202 words, which gave me a boost of confidence, even though it was not close to the 2,100 or 2,200 words a day that I was hoping to write. But again, that word count might need to go up because of the number of 0 word days that I've already taken, if my goal remains hitting 50,000 words during this month. And then yesterday, which was November 13th, I had another 0 word day, which again, there were some other things that were happening, so I was okay with that. But at the same time, that means that I've already taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 0 0 word days, and we are 2 weeks into NaNoWriMo. And we haven't even hit the days yet that I was assuming that I would take off during November. So that might be changing, and I might try to write on some of those days that I had originally hoped to not write or to take off and spend time with family. But I think that if I structure my time well and I start early enough in the morning or continue writing after everyone else has gone to bed, I might be able to do some writing on those days, but maybe not the 2,000 plus words a day. And then so far today, which is November 14th, aka the 2-week mark of NaNoWriMo, I am currently sitting at about 1,500 words, but I do want to try and hit at least 2,000 tonight, but that will have to come with a couple more word sprints in a little bit. And I'm currently sitting at about 17,488 words, whereas the recommended NaNoWriMo pace, I would need to be at 23,338 words, which means that I'm roughly about 5,000 words down, which is actually fewer words than I thought it was. But I guess that makes sense because tomorrow, which is November 15th, the suggested pace is going to be about 25,000 words total. And so I feel okay with that, actually. Kind of surprisingly okay with that. I think because I've had so many heavy word days where I've gotten so much done that I kind of assume that's going to happen again, especially if I really put the time and intentionality into it and try to sit down and get a bunch done. And moving forward into the next 16 days, wow, only 16 days. I'm hoping to just have a lot more intentionality with writing and actually sitting down and attempting to write, because that seems to be my biggest issue right now. When I sit down and write, the words are flowing, I'm getting a lot done. It's kind of been surprising and impressive to me because I don't feel like I normally write at the pace that I have been writing this story. However, the issue has been more putting my butt actually in the chair to really get some writing done and to try and spend some time with the blank page. And so I think I need to really work on my schedule with writing, because I didn't really have a writing schedule going into this. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but work has made that kind of difficult. I wanted to try and do a couple hundred words in the morning, or at least as soon as possible in the morning, with work that can be kind of tricky, just to bring that daily word count down a little bit so that I wouldn't have to try and write close to or above 2,000 words late at night, especially if I was writing after 10 or 11 p.m. So I'm thinking that I need to try intentionality with writing earlier on in the day, but also setting my alarm throughout the day to remind myself at various points, like, hey, just do a 15-minute writing sprint. Whatever you get done is fantastic, because progress is progress. And I think I need to split it up more throughout the day rather than keeping it to late at night and then I don't feel like writing and then I won't sit down and actually write. And this is also kind of influenced by something that I figured out a while ago. But if I can almost like sneak up on my word count earlier on in the day before I'm fully mentally awake, it's much harder for me to talk myself out of writing, because really I just like sit down at my computer, I open my laptop, and I just start writing. And then if I get a lot done, that's like kind of surprising to me because I'm still like half asleep, but then I've gotten writing done, and that is so helpful to my word counts. So I think I need to try more intentionality with beginning earlier on in the day and making it more of a priority, because like I said, there have been some other things that have popped up that I've put first. Yes, some of those things were very important, like mental health and like work and like taking some time off for mental health. And while I've loved my 3,000 word days and my 4,000 word day, I am kind of wondering if writing that much that quickly has kind of burned me out. I don't think that's the right phrase for this, but I'm almost wondering if, because I'm not used to writing at that pace, if my body then needs a day off afterwards. And while I don't want to stop myself from having a day like that, I'm almost wondering if I should, just so that I don't burn out. And I'm almost wondering if I need to try to write closer to that 2,000 word mark a day, just for consistency. And so it's not like I'm writing 3,000 or 4,000 words a day and then having a 0 word day the next day. And so I think it'll just be interesting to see how that works out moving forwards, because for the next couple of days, I think I'm going to try to do around the 2,000 word mark instead of going absolutely crazy, and trying to make it much more of a consistent thing rather than like a sprint during a day and then taking a couple days off after that. But one of my favorite parts about NaNoWriMo is actually what it teaches me about writing every single year. And I think this is probably going to be the lesson that I learned this this year is whether or not writing in really strong bursts or writing more consistently every single day at a slightly lower word count is more beneficial for me and my writing consistency most importantly. I would love to know down in the comments below how you are doing with NaNoWriMo. Once again, I think that November is one of the worst possible months for me to have something like this going on, but at the same time, I'm still gonna give it a fair shot. I'm still gonna do my best. And at the end of the day, if I don't have 50,000 words, progress is progress. I was able to start a new story and explore that story and have a lot of fun doing so, and I will have more words at the end of the month than I did at the beginning. So ultimately, progress is progress, even if it is a little bit disheartening sometimes if I don't hit that 50,000 words, but I'm still thinking positively because I am only 2 weeks into this challenge. Can I call it that? I'm gonna call it that. Into this challenge. And there still are 16 more days to go. I have several days with flights in them, and I write really well on planes, and so I'm hoping that that'll do really well and be really helpful for me. And I also think that switching my location with those upcoming trips might actually be really helpful to me in my writing, but ultimately I only think that time will tell, and all I can control is my intentionality and the time that I sit down and try to write. So with that being said, if you enjoyed this chatty video, I would really appreciate it if you could give it a big thumbs up because that really supports my channel. If you are not already subscribed and want to see more videos from me, make sure you scroll down below and hit that big red subscribe button because I'm currently posting 2 videos a week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that NaNoWriMo is going well for you. I am wishing you happy writing, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!